So there was a lot of interest in learning how to crochet at the family reunion, so I wanted to make a quick video on how to do so. Just a basic single crochet stitch. We're going to create just a little swatch. I have some basic acrylic yarn. This is mostly what we had in the box there. Your finished end is the cut. Your working end goes towards the ball of yarn. My hook here is a 5.5 millimeter. Really, the hook size doesn't matter. You just want one big enough that you can see your stitches. You can see what you're doing. I am left-handed, so I'll try really hard not to say left hand, right hand. We'll say dominant hand in your other hand. So hopefully it translates okay, but if you're having questions, just let me know. So we want to start with our first slip stitch to create our chain. So in your dominant hand, you're going to take the finished end of the yarn. Your other hand, you're going to create a loop. Now this is going to put the finished end on the bottom and your working end on top. With your opposite hand, create a little pinch with your thumb and forefinger. Go through your loop and pinch the working end of the yarn. Pull back through to create a knot. And make sure you don't tighten it too much, just enough that it won't unravel. Put your crochet hook in your dominant hand. Go through your slip knot and just gently pull. So it's tight but not too tight. You don't want to make it too hard for you to work. Use your index finger of your hook hand. Just plop it right there on your yarn. This is going to keep it from spinning while you're working. So you're going to take your opposite hand, you're going to yarn over once, you're going to pinch the knot just like that so that your middle finger and ring finger are holding your yarn in place. A lot of people just kind of wrap it to keep a little tension. It doesn't matter, just as long as you can keep a little tension. With your thumb and your pointer on your opposite hand, grab your knot, slide it forward, let your working yarn slide under the head of the crochet hook, and pull through your slip knot. So that created our first chain, or our first stitch in our chain. So we're going to come over again, we're going to pinch our knot, we're going to let the working yarn slide under the head there, and we're going to pull through to create 2 stitches in our chain. Yarn over, pinch your knot, pull through for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For educational purposes, we're just going to do 11. And actually, we're going to sacrifice the 11th stitch once we get started. But I just want you to kind of see what we're doing. So if you count, we have 11 stitches, not including the one on the hook or our knot to begin here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So to begin making our I guess piece of fabric, you are going to skip your 11th stitch. You're going to go into the second one from the hook, your 10th stitch. You're going to pull through. So now you've got 2 on the hook. Through your chain, your previous loop, and then our working yarn here. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go through our chain, we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to create our stitch. So through the chain, just like that. Your yarn should naturally kind of fall over the hook, so you'll automatically have the 3 on there. But here's our chain, here's our previous stitch, and there's our working yarn. I'm going to pull through, yarn over, create our stitch. So there's 2. We're going to take that all the way to the end. We'll end up with 10 stitches in our row here. So there's 3. Hook it through your chain. Go through a first time. Hook it through. Go through both to create your stitch. Hook it through a first time. Yarn over. Make your stitch. Hook it. Yarn over. Hook it again. Make your stitch. We're going to take this all the way to the end. Okay. So our final stitch here, we're going to do the same thing we were doing. Pull it through once, yarn over, pull through again to create our 10th stitch. Now to make sure that our ends stay nice and polished and they don't get pinched a little bit, you can see our working yarn is going through 2 strands. We're going to do a slip stitch just to keep that from pinching, and then you'll be able to find your last stitch as you keep going. So what we do to create our slip stitch, do yarn over once, and you pull through. And now it looks like you have an extra row here, but just like the 11th in our chain, we're going to abandon that one. That one's just going to kind of fall off. So you're going to turn your work over, avoid your slip stitch, go right into the last stitch of the previous row, and we're going to work it just like we did through the chain. So instead of having 1, now we have 2, because we're working through both strands of the previous stitch. You're going to pull through a first time, yarn over, and create your stitch. Hook it through, pull through a first time, yarn over, create your stitch. We're going to go all the way to the end here. Pull, wrap around, make your stitch, pull, wrap around, make your stitch. You can see we're starting to get a little piece of fabric starting. Now as you're working row 2 here, on this 10th stitch, it's folded down a little bit because this is the first one off the chain. So you want to make sure you find both strands in that last stitch. It'll be folded forward just a little bit here. That is your 10th stitch right there. This is the one that most people end up losing, and then instead of having 10 stitches in your row, now all of a sudden you have 8, or you have 9, and then further along, now you'll pinch it a little further, you'll have 8. So we want to make sure we grab that last stitch there. So, gotta come back, put my hook through my working yarn, hook my last stitch, pull, wrap around, create my next. And now because we finished our row, do your slip stitch so that you can always find your next stitch. Okay, so now we've got our 10 stitches in our second row here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We don't count our slip stitch, so we're going to hook our yarn through. We're going to turn it. We're going to do our third row. So through your yarn, through the previous stitch there, wrap over, pull it through the previous stitch, yarn over again, make your new stitch. Through the previous stitch, or the 9th stitch of the second row, pull through that stitch, yarn over, make your new stitch. And we're going to keep going back and forth. So through your stitch, yarn over, through the stitch, yarn over, make your new stitch. We're just going to keep going all the way to the end. And then our 10th, you can see, is nice and easy to find because we created our slip stitch. And pull through, yarn through, and there we go. And then create another slip stitch for that 3rd row. Flip it over and keep going. You're going to go through the first time, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over again, pull through both, and create your new stitch. So, yarn over through the previous stitch, yarn over again, make your new stitch. And we're going to keep going all the way through here. Now we just did 10 for the sake of education. This is going to give you a little swatch about 2.5 inches wide. If you, well, I guess for me it's about 2.5 inches wide. You want to measure it. If you're going to do a 10-inch square, maybe shoot for 45 or 50 stitches. And then don't measure it until you get a couple rows in, because if you measure just your chain, the chain stretches as you start to work the rows up. So you're never going to get an accurate measure based off the chain. So if I come in here, let's grab inches. And we do a little measuring. It's about 2.5 inches right here. So keep that in mind as you're working. If your squares aren't a perfect 10, it's okay. We will make it work. It's just 10 inches. Gives you a little room for creativity. So hopefully this will help you to get started on making those squares. This makes a nice clean single stitch. It's perfect for blankets. You can't stick little fingers through there at all. It looks really pretty. And then as you finish, what you'll do, once you're completely finished, you're going to give yourself a few inches here. You're going to nip your yarn when you're all done, and that slip stitch now becomes your finishing stitch. And you're going to pull through, pull tight, and it creates a knot. And then if you want to hide that, you can just weave your hook in and out of these stitches, yarn over, go through all of those, and it'll hide it right, the tail right in there. You never even know there's a tail. You can do the same for the bottom too if you'd like. So hopefully that gives you a little idea on how to crochet. These are just little single stitches, but like I said, it's perfect for a blanket, it's perfect for a beginner. Make sure you do those slip stitches on the end so you can always find your end. And then if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.